Hi, my name is Chris Kennedy with Engage Machinery. We're going to be doing a quick changeover on the SSQ from NewTek. NewTek has developed a faster changeover for the machine rollers, and we're going to show you exactly how to do that. The first step is to remove all the equipment from the top of the machine. So things like your run-out tables here and the coils on top, you want to take those off just to get it out of your way while you're doing the changeover. Step 2 is to get all the top covers off. So you're going to take the covers off all the way down the length of the machine so that you expose all the rollers. An easy way to do that is to lift up on the handles here, get them out of the way. You have 2 handles on this one here in the front. Just unlatch them, move them to the side. We'll get the other 2 over there. Top panel comes off. We have our rollers exposed, and we're going to go ahead and get the rest of the panels off and show you what the next step is. Okay, now that you have all the tops off all the covers off the top of the machine, it's time to take all the rollers out of the machine. Now, if you come in closer, we can show you exactly how to do this. Okay, what you have is each individual roller station has 2 bolts that hold it onto the machine. These are 1/2 inch, so you want to have a 1/2 inch wrench and socket. Loosen the 2 bolts. Now, when you loosen it, it's going to want to tilt forward, so put a little bit of pressure on it just to make it a little bit easier and hold it up. Once you get the bolts loosened, you can take these out by hand. Okay, once the bolts are out, the fixture is ready to come out, so you just pull it right out. And then we do the same on both the left and the right hand side. You want to take all these fixtures out, get them moved off to the side so you can move the other fixtures back in. Okay, now I'm going to show you a little bit about the cassette here. The cassette has markings on it to tell you both what it's supposed to make and what position it's in. So this cassette is an SS675. The R1 means that it's the right side as material is being fed through the machine, and it's the first cassette that you come to. Okay, on the back side of the cassette you have these 2 line-up blocks. The line-up block is what you're going to use to line the cassette up when you're putting it back in. So basically you're going to put the cassette back into place, slide it back until it hits, and then tighten it down. You don't want any gap in between these 2, otherwise it's going to throw your panel off. So to put it back in, I'm going to put it down into position. I'm going to line that number 1 up that's on the fixture with the hole that we pointed out earlier. When I do that, my 2 bolt holes should line up to the holes where the bolts go into. Get the bolt started. And you want to just get these started by hand and then tighten them down and pull back on the cassette just to make sure you do have it seated correctly. Okay, so it's loose. I can move it around. Just want to make sure it's pulled back into place. Okay, with the cassette in place, you'll see my number 1 here is lined up based on the number that I have here. When that's lined up, my 2 holes for my bolts are in place. I haven't tightened them down yet, so I can still move it in and out. And what I want to do is make sure that I push it back as far as it can go so that it's up against those line-up blocks, and then just tighten it down on the left and right side. Okay. You repeat this for the left and the right hand side, and just make sure that you keep track of the right side is number 1. You see the left side on the other side has L1. The -1 represents what number you should see in this hole, and in some cases this doesn't always line up. So R1 isn't always going to go into -1, R5 isn't always going to go into -5. So make sure you take a look at that and make sure you have the numbers lined up. Okay, after you get all the cassettes back into place, your next step is to adjust the offset from the first set of rollers to the second set. In order to do that, the bottom of the second set of rollers, you have a tab that comes down. Once you have this tab lined up with the fixture here, or the base that comes up, the second set of rollers is in place. and you're going to use the hand crank that you would normally adjust for your different material widths in order to get that in place. So once you get this piece again lined up directly over the top of this, the second set of rollers is in place, and then we need to adjust the first set by loosening the coupling and moving it back, which we'll show you here in a second. Just a little bit further. Okay, so this is now directly over the top of this. So this set of rollers is in place, and we need to adjust the offset for the first set. In order to do that, we need to separate the coupling that connects the shaft from the first set to the second set. Because we don't want this to move, we just want the first set to move. So on the side you have this door that houses the coupling. Now on this coupling, you just flip these pieces up, see how they lock into place. You have one on top and one on bottom, depending on how the shaft is in position. Once you flip those up, only the first set of rollers is going to move when you adjust that hand crank. So now if we go back up to the front of the machine, as we said before, on the cassette it tells you what profile you're making. Right here at the front, there is a block with different markings and all of the cassette styles that the machine can come with. So right now we're doing the SS675. So what I want to do is line this markup with that line that goes to SS675. Now when I move the hand crank, since I have that coupling loose, only this set of cassettes is going to move. Okay? So, if we take a look, we've got this lined up with that line. Our second set of cassettes haven't moved. We should still be over the top there. Okay? Once that's set, you go back to your coupling and just make sure you turn these two pins back down. Okay? So when you turn your pins back down, you'll notice they don't quite go into place. There's a bunch of holes that go all the way around this coupling, and so all it takes is a little bit of a turn on the crank handle to get these to snap in. So you'll hear a little bit of a pop to them when they pop into place, and now your offset is adjusted.